stacks it, back on, cuts, stacks. There's about 4 or 5 of these things. That's why they can produce so many blades in one at a time. And when you got 164 welders going all at the same time, and you got about 150 grinders, so each tooth has about 4 grinders coming down on top of it. So each tooth is ground the same all the time, all the way around. Okay. Every blade's got a barcode, and it's got a part number barcode, a production time. And when you take it to the sharpeners, they basically punch it in, and they know where to set the grinders to cut. Okay?
When you say sharpeners, who are the sharpeners? If we buy one,
and I'm not from Oshawa. There's a bunch in Toronto. They're all over the place, really. We deal with a lot of sharpeners. There's a lot of roaming sharpeners, let's call it. They'll go into different locations and pick up. They'll sharpen the blade and they'll bring it back. There's FS Tools sharpens. Nobletech in North York sharpens. They're all over.
I don't know if there's anyone out here. I'm from Oshawa.
We actually have a guy.
You do?
Yeah, we actually have a guy that comes. Dennis actually works with him. We drop off our blades here at Dennis's place, then he comes and picks them up and sharpens.
Yeah.
He does an amazing job. No, we have that information. I can get it.
Well, they have to.
Yeah.
Because if they're a reputable sharpener, they will follow the guidelines. If they have like a Balmer sharpener, it's basically computer controlled. They punch in the code and they punch in the blade number and whatever UPC is on it, or a code of a UPC, and then the machines will automatically boop, boop, and go on, and then they do what they have to do. If you get it from a sharpener that doesn't, then I would stay away, because I've heard some horror stories where they take a high ATV blade like this. They'll take a high ATV blade. This is 37 degrees either side, and it comes back to them and it's a flat top. And you don't want a flat top, not in a blade like this. Okay?
That's when we were talking. Someone asked me a question about why is one blade much more expensive than another blade, and the part numbers are similar. They all have 36 teeth. It's all about the drying, and again, the applications being used for. So, literally, the technicalities of those.
Actually, Marco, if you don't mind, we can connect afterwards and you can give me a name or two of someone that actually is, because I don't think our guy does it. He may or may not. He does it by hand, probably.
Yeah.
And not to the same level that you guys are
We
suggesting.
can find some people for
But
it.
yeah,
Sure.
then we can share it with the guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, if you go to the next page after the factory, then factory's an awesome thing to see. It's really like, if you as salespeople that we go over there and have a look at it. Marco's never seen it. It makes you appreciate the fact that, hey, I got to go out there and sell blades, or I got to go out and sell router bits, because 85% of the stuff that's coming out of that sucker is coming here. So between us and the States, I mean, we're about 10%, 12% of what the U.S. numbers are. So we still have our fair share. But they have 330 million people. We only got 35. So it's still a lot of pressure on us to sell. We do a lot of good work. There's a lot of people turned on to the Freud blades. A lot of people are moving over to the Diablo blades, and I'll share with you why that is happening as well. Anything else? Yes, sir.
When you talk about balancing, are they balanced while they're being manufactured, or are they being pressed?
Very good question. So, I'll pass this around. Just be careful of the teeth, okay? On the back of the blade, it's easier to see. There is a little indent on the back of this blade, and you'll see it on the front of the blade as well. This is after it comes out of the welders. It looks like a waffle. Okay, and it goes into a renealing machine. The renealing machine will reheat it and press it. Then it goes down the line, and it goes into a spinning machine. Looks like a record player. The dents in it now, it's still malleable a little bit, right? The dents in it are done by 2 check balls, top to bottom, right? They throw this thing at around 30,000 RPM, right? Just like a car tire. And electronically, they will move molecules to put it where it's supposed to be in order to get a perfect balance. The only way you're going to get this out of balance is if your fence on your table saw is consistently off and it keeps rubbing at a certain point. The blade keeps heating and it keeps heating. Now, I will tell you why it's almost impossible to do that with these is because, remember I said we don't use paint? So So this could rub as long as you want it to rub. This is an aluminum alloy with a Teflon base. Something like Teflon. We don't use Teflon anymore. We haven't for about 10 or so years, because Teflon, when it scratches, if it does, is carcinogenic. Okay? Teflon also weighs the blade down. It's a lot. This is done in our factory. It's an aluminum alloy. We use aluminum alloy because aluminum melts, or sorry, aluminum cools very quickly. The biggest threat to blades is heat. Router bits, it's heat. So you want to dissipate the heat away from this. This is why we put all these funny little funky question marks in it, to dissipate the heat. These, what we call as harmonic balancers, they'll dissipate some of the heat, but they're there to keep the blade straight. Okay? If you have an older machine and you put one of these on it, if your arbor is off or your bushing on your arbor is off and it does this, these little accordions over here will pick up that deflection, and by the time it's in the wood, it will stay straight. So I will pass this around. You can have a look at it. So what we do, I mean, blades was the forerunner of everything, and then router bits came later on.
I always find balancing anything
We've kind of mastered it. We do it with router bits as well, and I'll show you, and I'll pass out the router bit. Unfortunately, I happened to pick up a perfectly balanced router bit, so I can't show you what we actually do to the router bit in order to balance it and where it goes on. So the blades, and this is done after. This is the blade is balanced completely before it actually goes to sharpening and coating and all that stuff, because the actual coating itself doesn't really add any weight to it at all. It's a spray. We do two finishes. We do what we call as a silver ice finish. Basically, it's something like that, but it looks like a chrome finish. And we used to do chrome, and we got rid of chrome because it's very heavy metal, and eventually it's going to be wiped out. There's still some chrome blades around.
But when you sharpen it, doesn't it take away from
If you treat the blade, the secret to the blades and to router bits is when you use it, spray it, clean it, put it back. Okay. If you keep leaving it, you could get one of these blades could last you 3 to 5 years before you actually have to take it to a sharpener. And when they do go sharpening, they're only honing the surfaces. So they'll bring the edge back up again to where the ATB is. They'll bring that front edge, because that's where it's all hitting at the same time all the time, right? Okay, so we have a few different, there's a few different types of grinds that we have. 30 degrees, 37, 38. 38 is about the highest, 20, plus 10, plus 5, minus 6, minus this, that, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, now you say cleaning the blade. I've never heard of that before. What do they do? Just wipe it off?
So there's, what we recommend is a citrus solution. I've heard of guys like you using all kinds of crap. Okay, oven cleaner, Coca-Cola, WD-40. WD-40 doesn't work. I've heard of people putting a blade in Coca-Cola because you know what it does to rust, right? So it should chew up all the sap that's on the side of the wood, the blade. The best thing is the citrus-based solution. You can buy it anywhere. You spray it. There is actual blade cleaner you can buy. We used to manufacture it out in the Okanagan Valley. You spray it, let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes, and you will just wipe it clean. There's no brushes, there's no brushing. Even at the thickest of the pitch buildup that there is, you either spray it once or twice, 3 times, depending on when the last time it was cleaned. Same with router bits. Router bits is the same thing. It's okay. Most of the pitch buildup is always on pine. Okay. The worst wood you're going to do is where you're going to deteriorate the carbide is on cedar, because cedar's got a lot of granular sand. It likes growing in sandy soil, so it's got a lot of grains in it of sand. So it takes a little bit more abuse on the blade itself. Yes, sir.
What did you say was the cleaner again?
Citrus cleaner. This could be orange.
Is it the acid?
Yeah. It's an acid in the citrus that eats away at the product that's on the blade, but it doesn't have enough strength to do any. WD-40 and oven cleaner will eat away at the weld. Now, we don't use a brazing, let's say a brass brazing. All our stuff is there's we call it tri-metal brazing. Okay, so there's silver on the outside, copper on the inside, silver on the inside. So against the tooth starts with silver, in between is a copper base, and it's welded onto it. The reason we use copper is the copper strip acts as a shock absorber. It's a soft metal.
So, you can pick this up at Canadian Tire.
Rubigon? Have you ever heard of Rubigon?
Yeah.
Rubigon. Say it's a citrus
That's a
base.
citrus base.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And would you also say that not only for Freud blades, but if you were doing your chainsaw blades or anything like that?
Yeah, you can. I mean, chainsaw blade is.
No. Chainsaw blade always has that oil.
Yeah, it has oil on it, but you still get that buildup of whatever you are, because you want to ruin a chainsaw blade, just dig it into the dirt once, and you're done, right?
Yeah. Don't cut the stump.
Yeah. So that's why they invented the tree stumpers, right? They're the big chippers, and they come and but yeah, it's a citrus base. I wouldn't use oven cleaner. I wouldn't use WD-40. If you clean it with the stuff, I mean. You can buy it. It's at Home Depot sells it. It's a Zep citrus cleaner in a big bottle. Your wife probably has it in her closet somewhere.
We got Gooby Gun.
Okay. Well, Gooby Gun, you got to be careful. You got to get the stuff that's non-corrosive though too.
Oh.
There's two types, eh?
Zep is what you're saying.
Zep has a citrus base. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Yeah, nothing without that. Okay. So we use that non-stick product on it only to keep the corrosion away from the blade. So you can literally leave the blade out in, I don't know, in a damp shop if you choose to. But if for the construction guys, they have circ saw blades and they leave them on the machines and they're in the back of a pickup in the winter, summer. They don't. And also the stuff is the stuff that we use on it also resists copper quat, the pressure treated goo that they use. Okay, we've actually left blades soaking in the actual copper quat for days on end, and we pull them off because when it came out years ago, the copper quat, when they changed it from arsenic to copper, the SAQ, when they changed it from arsenic to green that they were using, and they started changing it to still green, but now they went to brown. That stuff is very, very corrosive. Everybody along the line, all the joist hanger guys and all of this guys, they had to triple coat their joist hangers, or else the decks would fall apart in a year. They would actually corrode, because most of that lumber that you buy in these days, and I know we're veering off the areas that you guys don't really care too much about, but you need to know that most of the lumber that comes to Toronto, Oshawa, wherever, it's really soaked with that stuff. It's like wet. I was just using some. You screw a nail into it, it squirts in your face. Yeah.
So when you put a galvanized strap with it, does it react?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta go. I worked for Passload, which is now Gunnison, for 15 years. I was in that transition when I went from regular PT to ACQ, and like we had engineers working on that for 2 years to develop a coating, and it was hot dip galv, no more electroplate galv. It was hot dip galv or double dip galv. Forget zinc plated, because if you're building a fence in particular and you're using just a regular electroplated nail, in a year you'll have black streaks down your fence. Absolutely.
Yeah. Some people use, even the stainless sometimes go black.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things, and building the blades with chrome on it, or the what we call as the Tico or the silver ice product, and putting the permashield on it, it just protects, makes the blade last that much longer. Whether it's a woodworking blade, in woodworking blades, we no longer make the chrome blades. There's only one chrome blade left, and that's the one for cutting aluminum in the large diameter. Everything is switched over to red. And in the Diablo blades, everything is red with the exception of some blades that we sell to Rona, because we need to distinguish between the two players. Kind of. So, yeah. All right. So let's go over to the next page on the back, and you'll see the Tico carbide, and you'll see a magnification of the Freud carbide before and the Freud carbide after, and it's almost, there's very, very little wear. So the way that carbide dulls is it flakes.